Free Range American Podcast, presented by BlackRifleCoffee.com.
So I have good ideas, is what you're saying.
No, I have good ideas.
Yeah, been there,
And
done
one
that.
of those ideas, one of those great ideas I have is I'm going to wear a blonde rig, put on lipstick, and dress up like an ATM and ask people if they would like some transaction.
Is that who I saw 20 minutes ago? Is that who I saw 20 minutes ago? I'm pretty sure I saw you with a wig.
Excuse me,
And I'm like,
sir,
you're
would you
looking
like
really
some
good right now.
transaction? Go ahead and call me ATM. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Free Range American. As usual, I have to regurgitate some bullshit David Reardon is making me say. He says that you have to like this video in order for anyone to see it. Apparently, YouTube has blocked this from everybody unless you like the video. There's a button somewhere. I don't know how YouTube works. Fuck Dave.
Isn't it like a thumb or something?
I don't know.
It's a thumb.
Like the video so Dave stops talking to me, please.
Not,
Or at least ask Dave a question. Hashtag Dave questions down there. I want you to ask him some sort of deep family-rooted question, like what is the meaning of life? What can I do better in my life? I would love to see. Dave is going to answer every question that you comment below.
Why do you still work
Within-
with the company that has chastised you
7
endlessly for
minutes.
years on end?
Dave's response policy is 7 minutes or you get a full refund. He's available 24/7. Let me just go ahead and give you his phone number. Hang on.
A direct text right to Dave.
and you'll be blowing that one up
Welcome
very
to this special show. This is a first of its kind.
What is it? What are we doing?
We got a ginger and an amputee.
Cool.
You know,
What we're
physical
calling this
wounds, buddy.
sub-series?
We call it the ginger tea.
Yeah. That is, he might not have, the physical wounds,
Yeah.
but I'm pretty sure that he's scarred for life for being a ginger.
Born with a horrible genetic birth defect known as gingivitis.
Yeah, you have to live with that, and then you have to reflect that on other
And I
people.
have to look at it. That's
You
the
have to
worst
look at
part.
it.
I have
It
to
is
project
one
it.
leg and half a soul.
Yeah.
I
Well,
know.
we are here.
You make a team of 3 legs, though. I can't complain.
Three-legged race.
We
We've
don't
got
run
it all
it
lost.
around
The
here.
sack race would be, yeah. There's no arguing in that team.
What do you got to say at that? Yeah, it's like.
Especially if we just tape you to him. It's great.
I mean,
Doesn't have a
I
leg
could
to
do
stand
pretty
on.
well in those like little potato run races, dude. I mean, just strap me up to him. I'm ready to go.
Party.
Wow. Christian and Dave, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Dave Reed. Christian, what's your last name?
Myers.
Myers. I never knew that. Not once.
you
I don't
know.
know why. I think it's just because you're saved in my phone as Christian Medic.
Christian medic.
I
Medic.
generally save people for what they're important for. AJ is, AJ jumps a lot.
Okay.
You might have an issue though. You might have an issue with me because you're like Dave one leg, and I feel like like every amputee out there. So
30
it's
of
like,
those.
No. You're Dave Huge Dong.
yes. Well,
Obviously,
funny story about that.
that one we can get into later.
Yeah.
But we're doing this show to introduce you to the audience because you guys are about to have your own show on Free Range America.
Hot damn.
Excited.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Two new hosts.
Ramping up
Look
to
at
the
that.
big leagues.
We're
Well,
introducing you
immediately.
all to 2 new people that you have to like. You have no choice. We're throwing this down your throat like it's the early 90s TV programming.
Hey, it's all about it.
Love
All
them.
of the TV
Love them
programming.
now.
Do you guys you get that joke? Like I tell people like 20 to 30 years ago, we were told who was the biggest star. You realize like Harvey Weinstein pulled in Brad Pitt and he's like, you're 20, you're gorgeous. We're going to put you in the next 80 huge movies. And we
Okay.
were just kind of
All
like,
right.
look at this pretty man. He's the best there is ever.
Look
And we
at
all
him.
kind of
It
went,
is beautiful.
If you can get me into the next Avengers, I'm good with that.
but that's what I mean is we were all told who the next superstar would be.
Yeah.
They decided for us.
Well, now it seems like, we're kind of deciding that shit, right?
Yes. Now you have to earn your own audience.
It's a true popularity contest once everybody has a voice.
Hope people, you have to be likable.
Yeah.
Yep.
You have to be relatable. Or you can fall back on some sort of war wound or something like that.
Most of the time, that's what defines me, right?
I mean, seriously,
What
every time
defines
Dave
you,
walks
Dave?
in the room, we got to hear the story.
Oh, here we go again. The war stories.
He actually has a horn on the leg, just so everybody looks at it right as he walks.
We're building an MP5 leg right
Build the
now.
MP5 leg.
You
Yeah.
could do a train horn on your leg, I think.
A
We're doing
train horn?
MP5.
Every time I walk, though,
No,
it
I
just
think you
goes
do-
off.
Do the ham horn.
Yeah.
Every time I take a step.
My
Like
leg
those
is
stupid
acting
lightable
up.
sneakers.
Yeah,
that
let me just calm my leg down. Anyway, guys, welcome. Both veterans, obviously. Christian, you were in the Air Force. That's why you and I have a better relationship than me and Dave.
Yeah, well,
I mean-
Army guys, you can never trust them.
Somebody needs the 5-star accommodations, right?
And the air conditioning
Yeah.
and the internet.
And nice grass. What's up with the Air Force and having super nice grass?
You
We
can
spend
walk on it,
bullets,
too.
Really,
let's be
dude. Like
honest.
Charleston Air Force Base, you're like, wait, this is a base? This looks like an officer's club.
But you can walk on it in the Air Force. No one gives a shit.
I don't know,
And
in the
Corps is
Marine
really
Corps-
good at that too, because they just don't let anyone walk on it. It's just for viewing pleasure.
Do you
The
think
grass.
that's part of the curriculum for an E9 in the Marines? That grass?
it has to be.
There's got to be a
There
binder
has to
somewhere
be.
that's
Yes.
like the grass
There's a
program.
grass chief.
And
Like,
they
hey.
love it. And they're like making you clip it with toenail clippers.
Yeah.
If you do it. And
'Cause you know, like when your unit would get an inspection of all your programs. Like,
Yeah.
I was always hid from those because one time they came in and I briefed them on the elevator safety program that I had developed, where there was a lot of photography of what not to do in the elevator.
The whole binder.
They're looking at this like, what the fuck is
It's just an
this?
example of what not
Yes,
to do.
these we show the students what they're not allowed to do in the elevator.
Yeah, play
Oh,
beer
hang on.
pong in an
Yeah,
elevator.
this one is
Don't do that.
censored for a reason. Go back to that next one.
It's
Don't
blurred
ride
out.
naked
But
in
there's
this
gotta
elevator.
be a binder out there of like the sergeant major's grass policy.
It does.
Yeah,
There
there's for
is
sure. But
100%.
wait, what was some of the
What if we
elevator
made
photography
those-
though?
Some of it, like
Yeah.
I had a student in the elevator looking down the barrel of his rifle, and it was like, "Meh, no,
Don't do this.
Okay, then.
This is not how you ride the elevator.
And it's
don't
a
do
great
this.
excuse
Then
to
I-
do what you can't do to
I
show
had
that you
like a student pyramid, so there was like 4 of them, and
I think we
3
need
and then
to
2.
we need to adopt this and what you did there for the Black Rifle HR policy.
Yeah. Or what if we authored the grass policy and sold the binder
Oh.
so soldiers and Marines could buy it and hide it in their E9s like bookshelf?
Yeah, there
So
you
it's
go.
like, so you could come to that joke later on, like,
Slide
hey,
it
let's
in
go ahead and
there.
take a look at the grass policy here.
Yeah,
It
just
shows-
all of the dumb
it
shit
shows
in the
like-
military
it's
that you
right
do.
it
here.
shows Sergeant Major's just like beating the pulp out of people on the grass.
Yeah.
It's like when it's allowed, when it's not.
But you have to play both characters in those photos too.
100%.
Yeah.
I'll be both.
Yeah, you have to play
I'll
both
be
characters,
like,
just beating the shit out of yourself.
No.
No.
Harder,
Exactly.
please.
Hey, the grass handbook. It's a thing. It's coming out.
Yeah. Grass policy. Sergeant Major's grass policy.
Buy Black Rifle coffee.
Yeah. This is a product.
Yeah, look out, Jack Carr. We're coming for you.
Yeah, we are.
Sergeant Major Grass policy.
Yeah, you can buy it on Amazon. The Sergeant Major's grass policy. Everything ends
Let me
with
just
that.
hook you up with like an honorary sergeant major real quick. I'm sure we can make a call and just make you an honorary one. And then
Yeah,
it's
can you call the
it's
Army? You've been in the Army. Can you see if I can get an
call
honorary?
Mr. Army himself.
Yeah. Can you call Mr. Army and see if I can be an honorary
Who do
sergeant
I have to
major?
talk to for this?
Listen, get Dick Army on the phone.
Big Dick Army.
We've got the sergeant or the former chief of staff of the Army coming on to our podcast
He's here in
pretty
like
shortly.
a few days.
Yeah, it'll be
I think
here
he's staying
Friday.
at my house.
Oh, yeah.
You guys
John
set this
Wayne
up.
Troxel.
Dude, you better
Oh,
get
yeah,
that
and
grass
John Troxel.
situation taken care
The
of.
grass is taken care of, all
It
right?
wasn't.
Yeah.
The grass is taken care of.
It wasn't taken.
There's chickens out there all over the grass.
Shit,
He's gonna
you're
lose
right.
his
I gotta get
fucking
that grass
mind.
taken care of before Sergeant Major gets here.
He's going
wipe
to
my
see the
ass up.
horse pit that you got going on, and oof.
Oh man, I've got some work to do. So we got an Air Force guy and an Army guy.
Yeah,
Two very different walks of life.
definitely.
Mr.
But
Reed.
we went to high school together.
Oh, that's how you know.
That's
each
how
other.
we
I didn't
originally
even know
Really?
this.
in
Long time.
California.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had
Central
always thought
California.
dogs laid
Sorry.
eggs.
He had the longest
I learned
hair.
something
This
today.
guy had hair down to here. He wore like Hurley everything, gauges in his ear.
He's still got gauges. He
Now
wore
I
those
do
in the
again.
Air Force.
Yeah.
He got a memorandum.
Yeah, I got a
got a
waiver
waiver
for
for that,
gauges.
yeah.
Yeah, it's medical use.
Yeah. They're medical
yes.
gauges.
It's for the transgender.
No, you can hold EpiPens in them.
Yeah.
It's an EpiPen storage.
That's where I hold my steroids. Just
Yeah.
right through there. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you were a Army Ranger.
I was
Like
an
a real
Army
one, though.
Ranger,
one
not
of
to be
those ones that
confused.
goes to that school for 62 days.
Yeah, not to be confused with guarding bears or forest fires or anything like
Yeah.
that. But an Army Ranger, yeah.
Yeah.
So I did that. So I enlisted in 2007, and immediately had an Airborne Ranger contract. So I got to just
Because they just
go.
hand those out, don't they?
You know, they did not want to hand it out to me for sure. They were like, oh, we don't want to give you a bonus, and we're probably going to make you a
look
mechanic.
accident prone. That's what your recruiter said.
That's
And you
probably
sent him a
it's because I'm
picture
stepping with
recently.
my feet like this everywhere I go. About time they hit me,
Metal detector died, so I check it with my toes as I walk.
which I have 5 now.
Started with 10, now we're here.
So, I mean, you know, if you think about the math of toes that we have, I mean, that's even.
We should just call you Mr. Lincoln.
You can only count to 15 now.
Yeah,
Is
$5
really what it is.
I count with my
Am I
toes too. I'm
stupid?
like,
Is Lincoln on a $5 bill?
Yes, he is.
He is?
Yes.
Why did
Lincoln.
Lincoln
Good
get
job.
the penny and the $5 bill? Why did a president get both? That
Man.
seems racist to me.
Gangster.
you know,
I mean, I guess you're right.
Yeah.
Damn,
He had
it
a big
feels
hat.
good.
he had a big
Gangster.
hat.
He did have a big hat.
I mean,
Big
who's
hat.
in charge of deciding who's on the money? Is that one person, do you think?
Maybe that's a Sergeant Major's thing, too.
it's in the grass
All right,
policy.
Sergeant Major.
Yeah, it's right next to the grass
You've been
policy.
promoted to Sergeant Major of the Army. Here are your 2 responsibilities: authoring the grass policy and deciding what presidents are on the money.
Yeah.
Really? Does any of them change it? No, actually, they haven't in 70 years. Okay, I don't want to be that guy. So,
I'll just collect my paycheck. Thank you.
Is there anything to do with that? No. Just money
Honestly,
and
who
crap.
wants to even be on the penny? Like, that is like the dirtiest coin.
that is true.
What did
If there is a coin that has like stuff on it, it's a penny.
I mean, I know where bills are ending up, so I mean, those are pretty
Who
dirty
would you
too.
put on the money if you could?
myself, 100%.
Yeah, that would be pretty sweet.
Why not? It's a great marketing opportunity.
Every time you introduce someone, hey, what's up, Dave Reed on the $1 bill?
People call me 5 Spot, you know, or something.
People call me Fiver.
Five.
Don't recognize me? Oh, you're a card guy? You're a card guy?
Yeah.
No worries.
God damn
That would be the sad thing, is like the younger generation wouldn't even know who you were.
Yeah.
They're like, what's cash?
Got to
Hey,
make a bigger impact.
Is that an
first.
app?
Yeah.
You're not on a Bitcoin.
Is that the app?
Is that the app,
Apple
Cash App?
has?
Yeah,
Do you have a Bitcoin?
Yeah. I mean,
a couple
it's
of
all
them.
about Bitcoins nowadays,
Is it?
right?
Yeah, your mustache is fine.
My God.
It's so
Weird.
sexy.
There's thousands of these cryptos.
And the
Whatever
value
they
of
are.
those things are,
It's exhausting.
They're made up.
it's exhausting.
Yeah.
That's a good way
It's
of putting
made
it.
up. This is hilarious. This is a hilarious
Yeah.
project.
It's
Hey, guys,
fantastic
it's
though.
all
Let's
kinda
pretend
made up
money
when you
is
think
is
about
worth something. Okay, yeah, it is.
Hey, and nowadays people are making their own currency,
Yeah,
right?
you
And-
can make a crypto online in like 20 minutes. It's all like drag and drop bullshit, just like
Yeah,
building a
that's what we're
website.
selling.
69 coin.
So
there
nobody's
hasn't
made
been a 69 coin yet.
nobody's made a veteran coin or a military anything
No
yet.
one's made a porn coin.
I mean, we
Yeah,
could
I
lock
mean-
this down.
I mean, we could talk about this all day. I'm going to just start listing things: bear coins, fire
I mean,
coins.
honestly, we were going to get in your guys' bios, but we're just showing how entertaining you
that's
are.
boring.
You're going to be hosts on your own show. So, I mean, this is what they have to see. They
we'll
have
never
to
get
see-
anything accomplished.
Logan, do you know how JT and I met? Did you hear this story yet?
Oh,
No,
I don't
no.
even know this story.
I really wanted to tell this today because
Please,
it is
by all means.
the most ridiculous
my
thing.
God.
Yeah, I hit JT up a few months ago, I guess. We had been talking on Instagram back and forth a little bit because I was relocating to San Antonio. Wanted to just get in touch with him. And he's like, hey, come out to this music video shoot tomorrow for the Memorial Day shoot. So, okay, yeah, I'll come out.
Oh, that was the first time?
But he calls me 5 minutes after that. The first time I've talked to him on the phone, he's like, hey, man, do you have toenail clippers and a med kit? And I'm like, yeah. Why? He goes, can you bring that and give me some surgery on my toe tomorrow? Never met this guy before in my life. I'm like, yeah, fuck it. Why not? Let's
Very
give you some
trusting.
Very
surgery.
trusting.
Job
Obviously, if
interview.
you- if you
Jared.
meet
Did you ask
somebody
for his
on the internet-
credentials?
Yeah. The first test is like, hey, let's, when am I supposed to go to the doctor?
So we
no
had-
doctor wants to deal with
So I do
it.
this surgery for him in the parking lot of this bar.
Wait, what surgery?
I dug an ingrown toenail out of his toe.
Got it.
Got it. Soaked it in some hydrogen
Yeah.
peroxide. It's good to
That
go.
was a good call, whoever's idea that was.
Yeah, this guy right here.
Oh, well.
Why can't you just do that yourself?
But
Oh, what the fuck? I don't have that many hands.
Right as we're finishing up, a doctor walks up though.
Yeah.
Scott, he's an MD, plastic surgeon. So he does surgery all day long. He's walking up with his bag like, what do you guys, you want to do this toe thing now? We're like, oh no, we just finished it up.
No,
no.
cool down just in case.
Yeah,
You never
Yeah.
know when someone's not going to show up for a toe surgery
This is
at a music video shoot.
And you got that shit on
Everybody
call.
knows that.
You got that shit on
This is
call. which the
standard
best part.
policy.
You're just like, hey, I need a medic down here. I'm like 3 hours away from you. Go ahead and.
I almost died once because I called a PJ friend when I needed stitches. And I was like, do you have a suture kit? And he was like,
no, but I thought he said yes. And then I was like, okay, I'll see you in a minute. And I hung up the phone and passed out and bled all over the place.
Just bleeding out all over your bed.
Yeah, I woke up just covered in blood. Like, oh man,
That's when you discovered the wonders of bloodletting.
Well, then I called him back. I was like, I thought you were going to come over. He goes, I told you I didn't have a suture kit. And I also live in Arizona. And then I was like, oh yeah, I'm really drunk.
You're bleeding out more rapidly as all the blood alcohol.
That was a bad time.
I would have just slapped a Band-Aid on you and said, move on.
Yeah.
But Christian, you worked at a PJ Squadron, or is it called the Rescue Squadron?
Rescue squad.
Rescue Squadron.
I was a special missions aviator.
An aviation's nurse.
Basically, I sit in the back and shoot the guns, operate the hoist on the helicopter, do all the fuel calculations and computations. So we act as a crew with pararescue teams. You might have heard of Pedro or Jolly, the H-60s.
Were you an aerial gunner?
I was previously, yeah.
Oh, and then you transferred to 4N or?
To Special Missions Aviation, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I didn't do medicine in the Air Force.
Well,
I just took a look at your toe.
Someone who doesn't know medicine.
I know. You didn't see the credentials, brother.
Yeah.
It's a learning
I
moment.
just saw Jolly feet and was like,
His name
there's
is
green
Antonio.
feet.
Fuck it. He probably knows what he's
must
doing.
know something. He had the tools for it that I didn't have. I was
mean-
using a screwdriver and a 9-volt, and it was just hurting
Well,
my esophagus.
Next time,
Not supposed to eat them.
next time Christian comes up with a freaking minigun and he's like, I'll take care of your toe, brother.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
Take that thing right off.
I had a TAC-P buddy of mine that was in the aerial gunner pipeline, and he got kicked out for zipping a cow. 2 TAC-Ps have killed a cow before and got
Who
in
is
trouble
that?
for it.
I mean, I will neither confirm nor deny I've killed any animals while on board a helicopter, but
You know the ranges out there in New Mexico?
very familiar.
Lot of
Yeah,
cattle.
Socorro
So he did
and Red
bonus,
Rio.
which is probably not a good idea.
No, he was yelled at for that.
They just disappear.
Yeah. He's
So
still
I
out
hear.
of duty. I got to keep that quiet.
Oh yeah, so I hear.
He's fooled OSI, which isn't hard. I mean,
Oh yeah, I know him.
we
I
just
know,
got to
who you're talking about.
point at the barracks. Go, there's something going on over there. And OSI goes, I'm on it. We're arresting all of them.
Yeah, are you guys in the know on the gray berets?
What about?
Oh,
CCP,
Yeah, what's-
CCTs.
so there's special reconnaissance, and then there's a new one with brown berets apparently that we just found out about.
That's the aviation
Yeah.
advisor.
Yeah, the combat aviation
People aren't really
advisor.
happy with that. Like,
I don't really
Whatever.
You
understand.
guys are very peculiar with your berets.
well, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
we're
Strange.
pretty much. You might as well. Like,
very
we're gonna
special.
have a purple one, a yellow one by the end of the fucking year. Like, they're running out of colors.
Rangers
Like,
are particularly.
it's always because
upset
someone gets,
about all the berets
I've heard this. Yeah.
First seer gets fucking butt hurt, and they're like, "Why don't we have a beret?" Because you're a fucking Eagle Scout. Stop it.
yeah.
glorified
Do you want to be a Girl
Eagle
Scout?
Yeah. You
Professional
don't-
camper.
You have
Thank
your. You have to look at the stupid shit the Air Force does because yes, they gave seer specialists a scroll. The one thing in the United States military that utilized the scroll, and the Air Force is like, "Oh, we'll give it to our seer specialists." Like, come on.
They're extreme campers. I mean,
It
they
is
deserve
an extreme form of camping.
It is a type of ranger, right? It's a park ranger.
Extreme.
It's like
It's
it's
extreme.
like if a park ranger went through like a 3-day selection.
Yeah, ish.
And you have
Or-
to turn yourself in at the end too. Like if you've eluded, do you have to turn yourself in? No. I'm gonna
Bullshit.
bunker down in this hole for the rest of the time in.
Let's go ahead and just spend 5 minutes making fun of Sierra
gotta
because I
polish-
want to get all the hate. From
I'm sitting
Sierra
there with my
guys.
razor, just shaving my beret in the corner, making sure that gets
That's
real
part
nice.
of it. Like their first block of instruction is how to crochet their beret.
I mean,
So they have to
While
make
they're
their beret.
underwater?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
While they're underwater, right?
Yeah, probably while underwater.
Yeah. You learn how to weave baskets first, I think,
Yeah.
well, I mean,
for shorter business.
baskets is probably my least priority at that point.
Yeah.
You never use underwater baskets?
No, definitely not. It sounds. You
There's
could like go
30
clamming.
sear
And,
schools too. Like when you start peeling back the sear
There
onion,
is.
it's like, survival in urban dumpster setting. All right, that actually sounds kind of cool.
Sear level 17.
60 pages of
17.
reading and a
This one's
CBT.
just slapping. What?
I know, yeah. They don't break your finger on this one. They just bitch slap
This is
you across
just
the chest.
slapping. I don't see any of the training value in this. Just watch.
Just all day.
Face.
It's like really weird kung fu. Like, all right,
How do your abs feel? What do you mean?
You just got to make sure you
just
say the most
slapped me.
awkward stuff during while you're getting slapped, right? You'd be like, I'm totally into this. And they're
Yeah.
like, do I continue?
Please more, daddy. And they're like, oh God, we gotta stop.
My safe word is harder.
I'm having my surgery after
Candidate number
this.
312 is really creeping me out.
Yeah.
Yeah, the goal in SEER is to always get them to call academic situation because you're getting weird.
Yeah.
Like, I'm into this. Hit
Do you
me
have any
again.
contraband on you? I'm hiding 3 AA's in my urethra.
Yeah.
Oh,
Come
yeah.
get him,
Or
man.
God help you. Like
Come
in
get
my-
him, daddy.
Double
When I was
A's?
when I was in Ranger school, it
Got
was
double
like
A's in there?
the sticks of gum in Ranger school. Like, you will get kicked out of Ranger school if you have one stick of gum more than you're authorized to have.
Damn.
You know, and I knew people too. Like, it's like, pack your shit and get going. You know, but it showcases the discipline that goes into it, right? If you want to be a leader in the military, you should absolutely, you know, adhere to the guidelines, and that's
Weird,
kind of the
because
consensus.
all the really cool leaders I know in the military completely disregard the guidelines, make up their own, cheat
Sua
as
sponte,
much as they can.
you know,
There's a lot of miscommunication with the military.
Setting
you know?
expectations and then not
Excellence in
living
all
up
we
to it
do,
yourself.
except if it's for budgeting or.
well, it's a
anything
double
like that.
standard on a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah,
fronts.
yeah.
On a
It's
lot
like-
of fronts.
Excellence in most of what we do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, you're supposed to be excellent, but up here, you
I
don't
feel-
look up here. You are a peasant.
I feel like fake it till you make it is like a big thing in the military. It's like, I'm just going to pretend to be cool and just do it
Oh, I used to do that all
and
the time.
execute, and hopefully it goes well.
If you use the words, but Colonel Rodriguez told me it's okay. I mean, that got me out of 90% of everything that I was doing that I wasn't
Yeah.
supposed to be doing. All you do is just put a fucking rank in front of somebody. No, Colonel.
My left hand is a colonel.
Yeah.
Signs is one every time.
Well, I had a relaxed grooming standards memo that was signed by me. Nobody ever looked at the signature block. It said Senior Airman Jared Taylor, head of Air Force grooming standards. Like, but people be like, "Hey, why are you unshaven?" I'm like, "I'm on relaxed grooming standards. Let me see it." And I pull it out, and it's literally just the memo. that
I mean,
says
the
he's on
memos are
relaxed
not
grooming
hard.
standards per this AFI, per this headquarters unit
That you just
And that's
got
all
off
they go, fine.
You
Leave
just
it.
got that off of Google and
Yeah.
just
No, I
redid
just
the writing a little
Made
bit.
it all up. Fuck it.
Just made it up. It's
Yeah.
like terrible. Like, I could have 12-inch hair down to my.
I mean, I've done things like finances, like we can't file this voucher unless you have this. I'm like, well, what does that look like? And they show me, and
Mind
was
if I
like,
take a picture of that?
Yeah, all right. And then I would go make it and come back. Hey, I got that thing.
Found
They're like,
it.
yeah, and then they're surprised. Like, this would have taken him weeks to
Yeah.
obtain.
Where
How
did
did
you
you
find
get
this?
done in
Shut up with
20
it. You
minutes?
must know somebody.
20 minutes to
I
get
do
that
have a
back.
story.
Hate
too.
it.
Some fucking piece of shit that I worked for a while.
In finance.
No, he was
Oh.
a tack piece, sadly. Fucking, I should say his name, but everybody will know who I was saying. Anyway, this is how much of a dirtbag he was. I was moved from Baghdad up to Mosul, where the Mosul unit was the 3rd ASOS out of Alaska, which is the Mosul tack,
Yeah.
or the Alaska tack piece. So I fell under them. For an entire rotation,
Yeah.
I was roommates with this guy that became an E9 in the career field.
Boy.
Call him Ski. And when we get back, they're my buddies that I was all deployed with. They're like, "Hey, did you get your combat patch orders like for the 172nd Striker Brigade?" And I'm like, "No, where are they?" They're like, "Oh, Ski's got them. Get them from Ski." And I was like, "Okay." So I email him from now Fort Bragg to 14th ASOS. "Hey, I heard we got orders for the combat patch and we got a Valorous unit citation. Could I get those?"
Yeah.
And he emails me back, "How can you prove that you served underneath this unit?" The person who was roommates with
What?
him for 4 fucking months.
Listen,
says,
asshole.
How can so the 06 that was in charge of all the TACPs in Iraq was the group commander that was at my base at Fort Bragg. And I had a very good relationship with him because I worked in the Joint Operations Center with him for 4 months before he personally said, "You're going to the 3rd ASOS in Mosul," because I was begging, like, "Don't let me show my face back on Bragg without almost getting shot." Or like, I'm hyperventilating. Like, I can't go back to the 14th ASOS without being in combat.
Validate me,
Colonel
please.
Rodriguez.
Please validate me.
Colonel Shepro. Yeah, that was his name, Colonel Shepro. And he became a general, actually. And he was a general when this happened. Like once we got back, he made general. And I went over there and I was like,
General Shepro, this is the email I got back from Ski. And he's like, what the fuck? Because he knew literally they didn't have another room, so I had to room with him while I was up there. So he writes this memo, and I think I still have it. It's like it's the most
I gotta
passive,
see this.
It's the most passive aggressive memo. That's like Master Sergeant or Senior Master Sergeant Ski. Per my order, Airman Taylor was reported up to the 3rd ASOS on this date and remained in country with you as your roommate
It's just
for
passive
4
aggressive.
months.
Nice.
You fucking
Aggressively
idiot.
passive.
Send him the
aggressively
order.
passive.
He said in the final line, it was like, does this suffice proof for you to send him the order? And literally, I got no response, just the orders
Just
for the
showed up,
combat patch of the thing.
Tail between my legs.
Fuck you, dude.
He's listening.
You piece
Oh,
of
there it
shit.
is.
there it is.
Fuck him. He's garbage.
Hey,
Everybody hated him.
You're gonna have
For a
another
reason.
It's not-
suicide call here in a minute.
He'd talk like, hey, Super Troop.
kind of like,
Have
get out
you
of
read
here.
any leadership books today? Yeah, leadership books about lying when someone was your fucking roommate. Fucking weirdo.
Son of a bitch.
He was mad.
That's not
Tell
passive.
us how you really
He
feel.
was mad.
That's aggressively
That
passive is what it is.
aggressively
Yeah.
I got into the dodgeballs and caused a ruckus around
You?
the base. Yeah, me and another guy named Chooch.
Are these names made up?
So me and Chooch, there was this room on Merez that was like literally as big as this room here, where anybody that mailed a care package to troops,
Yeah.
it ended up in this room.
So you just had free access to
Well,
it?
no, one day, like we were in the MWR and there's like an Army specialist chick in there, and we noticed like the MWR is huge, but it just has this like row of computers and like a day room
Completely
with a TV.
empty.
We're like,
Room for expansion.
hey, what is this other thing? She's like, oh, that's the care package room. And we're like, what's the care package room? She's like, you guys can go back there. Pretty much anybody that sends care packages to soldiers, we just put it in this room. And we like go back there. Me and Chooch were in there for like 4 hours.
Just opening shit.
Rat fucking everything.
Just
There's like
DVDs
$5
and
DVDs.
beanies and
dude, there's panties.
Yeah.
Like,
That's a
like we
win
found
right
a
there.
whole box
Fuck yeah.
full of women's underwear. A note that was just like, enjoy.
Dude, that is awesome.
But anyway,
I know you
Fuck
guys
yeah.
are lonely.
yeah, there's
Like,
all
thank
these.
you.
There's like this grouping. We open this big box and it just has these little boxes in it. We're like, what the fuck is all this? We open them and they're those middle school dodgeballs, fully
Oh,
inflated.
yes.
So we
Yeah.
opened
Yes.
all of them. And then Chooch and I ran around the fob just nailing Army people with these dodgeballs.
And just
We're
taking
fast.
off.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you know, most of the Army guys were like, oh, fucking weird dodgeball fight randomly at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm
Sounds
not
perfect.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Like,
Sounds
so a lot of
perfect.
people got it. But, you know, the E7s and above that we hit their heads and stuff like that.
Fun police.
There was, yeah.
Fun.
So
police,
we got,
that's it. That's the
we got
army for
yelled
you, by
at.
the way.
So I think that's, hey, you guys.
we would
really
routinely
caused
bring
a
the
mess with
3-person
that,
slingshots
You guys caused a mess with them dodgeball.
closer.
Damn it, dodgeball.
Closer. Yeah.
And did you read any leadership books
What's
about
the
dodgeball?
that the Ben Stiller movie where he's like slapping the legs and the hisses?
Dodgeball? Yeah.
Dodgeball.
Dodgeball.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
It's about dodgeball.
Dodgeball.
What's the song about
would've
lollipops
thought?
again? How does that go?
Oh man, yeah. So you played dodgeball overseas and
Pretty much,
probably
yeah.
pissed off those
Oh,
army
yeah.
guys pretty
This
quick.
guy Kingsbury, that was another buddy. He was a TAC P, but he was zoned in on Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Like
Oh, yeah.
he was trying to beat it with 100%. Like,
Kill all
And
the
every-
hookers.
and we
Every hooker.
we
Every hooker dies.
open the door, and Chooch throws his, and it goes right past his eye line. And as soon as he looks at me, like, what the fuck? Like, I had already released. And it just, boom!
Right to the face.
That dude chased us for a good 40 minutes. Like, he wanted
It's
my
like the
blood.
Terminator.
He was going to wear my skin. He was in great shape, too.
Yeah.
So, like,
he's gonna-
I
There's
Just
some
wear my
weird
skin.
shit that happens overseas that most people don't realize. I always talk to people about, in any field you get, no matter what profession you're in, there's always shenanigans behind the scenes. And like, whether it's, when I wanted to be, I eventually was going to school to be a physician, and doing my emergency medicine shadowing. and just seeing what the doctors do behind scenes. They're like, you know, when they want to go check on something, they're like, oh, I just got to go check my notes and my calendar. They're really going up and looking at the pharmacy book and seeing what medication you should take, you know? And it's like, and that's the Army for you too, or anywhere that you go. It's
Oh, dude, to get even? Yeah, he put like a little C4 in my ammo, so when I fired my gun, it blew up and fucked my hand up.
That's why you're
Shit, no,
retarded.
But it'd be really funny if that's how he
So
got
we
even.
had
Glass in
on
my
our
eye, it was crazy.
on our third deployment, where privates always do these what's like private battles, and everybody just goes against each other, and like it's just this shit show
Like
of a
the
mess.
rank, not like battles with your private.
No,
Oh, okay.
battles with the
It was
privates,
Yes,
like
and
a
yes.
whole platoon.
Private-
That's in your unit, right?
That's in my unit.
Second Ranger Battalion.
Second Ranger Battalion.
After
So
2008.
after 2008.
Okay, tell us
so,
about this.
so I'm sitting there, you know, in your little hooch area where everybody's, you know, going to bed and all that stuff, right? And all of a sudden, you just see people getting swooped up and zip tied and thrown right on the ground. And we had our Spec 4s at the time. We call those anyone who goes to Ranger School and gets their tabs Spec 4s, and they have all the power in the world now, right? And they think they're gods, essentially. So we had these 2 Spec 4s through the AC system, put fire extinguishers and turn them on, blew up the whole like top, so you can't even breathe in there. And these privates are zip tied on the floor, just screaming, like, God help me! Crying, it's like tear gas in there, and I'm like, I'm out of here, man. And that's just, and you're like, these are the guys that are keeping you safe at night. These are the best of the best professionals. Fucking off.
Yeah,
And
but you have to.
yeah, and you have to
Dumb
cut
enough
loose.
to go do what we do. We're
gotta be
We're
crazy.
dumb.
You know? yeah, no shit.
You got to be
Just
pretty
dumb.
stupid to
Just
do
let us
some of
have-
that
just
shit.
let us have- That's why I
Yeah.
am so against, you know, the general like upper echelons of the military being mad about like the horseplay.
Yeah.
Like I'm not even gonna quantify it with the word hazing, because wrestling, where it's like, oh, those young kids that we want to be murderers for their entire adult lives,
Yeah.
they're horsing around and wrestling each
They're
other.
wrestling.
Wait a minute.
Wrestling.
You're telling me
Wrestling.
those little fucking killers that we got in really good shape and hyped them all up, and now
Testosterone driven.
they're using those UFC moves on each other. that
Haven't
we
seen a
haven't
woman
taught.
in 3 months.
Yeah.
Oh, the travesty.
Oh my God.
But thank God they got the pandas
Humanity.
that were delivered.
They're utilizing them fighting the karate that we taught them on each other.
Yeah.
How dare they? Like, come on.
The Air,
Let the boys be a little rough.
the Air Force has gotten especially bad about that.
Dude,
You know
now
the
can't
rescue
breathe
green
on
feeding?
somebody.
When you leave a squadron, they beat the shit out of you, paint your feet green, and you stamp it on something. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but that's gone away with now. The Air Force is no longer allowing you to like grab a guy who's leaving your squadron
Oh
or
my
retiring or
God.
whatever. Or like, you cannot do that. I mean,
Wait, you
we-
would paint their feet green
yeah. So
and then do what?
from Vietnam era, you would stamp their feet on like
Yeah.
a tile
Green feet.
or
You don't know.
Oh, no.
Leave your
Oh, I
mark.
don't know those
Marines
there.
Tell them what green feet is, man.
yeah. So in Vietnam era, they had the Jolly Greens. That was the helicopters they used for
Yeah.
rescue. They would land offset in the rice paddies. And when they would take off, it would leave the rotor wash imprints in the rice paddies. It looked like footsteps from the Jolly Green Giant. Hence the green feet tattoo.
Oh, okay.
So if you get a rescue in combat, you can get green feet tattooed on your ass. It's been a thing since Vietnam era.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, so we paint people's feet green when they're leaving a unit or retiring or whatever. We usually beat the shit out of them first, and then you drown them a little
and
bit.
that's where it's like, okay,
Yeah.
that baseball team in Miami where the indoctrination thing was the whole team holds you down while they all jerk you off. Like,
Okay,
yeah, that's a
maybe-
little weird. Let's go ahead
tone
and
it
say
down.
that.
What team
the
was that?
The line for hazing is right here.
man, and
Yeah.
hazing-
You know, beating each other up, just roughhousing a little bit, painting some feet green. I mean, that's a
Well,
rite of passage.
And there, but,
is.
but you flirt with that line too. Is like, okay, what's too far? You know, I watch.
Jerking somebody off is a little far,
Yeah,
Dave.
you know, depends on who it is. Let's be honest.
What if you're on the receiving end? Are you, is
I'm
that?
sitting
I
back.
don't know
I'm
if there's a
having
lot of
good
gray
time.
area for this one.
I'm not
Yeah.
being hazed
You're
right now.
asking the wrong two
not-
people here.
I'm
being
really
hazed
okay
at
with
all.
this. Yeah. I'm really
Do I
okay
leave
with
my
this.
leg on or off. So, you know, speaking of that, when I first striped up and got my E5, I walked into our talk area. And, you know, in regiment, if it's your birthday, don't tell anyone. Just do not tell anyone because they will beat
pretty much
the
everywhere.
shit out
Oh,
of
yeah.
you. So I come into this talk and lo and behold,
Tactical operations.
and I
center.
don't want to name any names, but this guy was a mouth breather. He was one of those 20% rank. Dear God, ski
For the second
Ski
time.
again, that bastard. So I walk into this, and there, we have these ladders to go over walls. He's upside down, duct taped to this ladder, and they have a mop, and they're just brushing his face with this dirty mop water. Happy birthday to you, right? And I walk in, and I'm like, what the? And then someone has a boar brush, and they're rubbing his head with the wire boar brush. And I was like, guys,
Okay,
does this
yeah,
look like
That's
haze?
scarring.
I was
Yeah,
like, what do you
that's-
get? You're waterboarding this guy like for his birthday. I said,
Happy
I'll give
birthday.
you 5 minutes. I'm going to come back and you're going to unfuck this and
Yeah.
clean it up because if it's anyone else but me, you're screwed.
Sergeant, check it out. For Clemens' birthday, we took out one of his testicles.
I already had, and Sergeant Reed,
Fuck you, Clemens.
and Sergeant Reed over here has one leg, so there's already rumors in battalion about how my leg got taken, so they're like, oh, dear God, we got to clean this up.
Taken by a bear.
Taken by
bear.
My favorite was I would like to tell him, I'm like, they captured me and tortured me for information for hours, but I didn't break. They took my leg.
They took the whole thing. It
They took it all.
was an unfortunate schmelting
Schmelting.
Yeah,
accident.
go ahead. Tell us how you lost your leg.
Well, yeah. So on my third combat deployment, combat deployment, I was in doing operations out of Kandahar near Panjwai, and we were
270 days in.
and we're, our mission parameters at that point in time is to establish rod sites, which is remain over day sites. So essentially we'd go in behind enemy lines, bunker down, and engage with the enemy. That's was our main priority at the point. So, it was already high stress, deployment already. So we go in, we land with our 47s, our Chinooks, and immediately touch down on the LZ with and an IED goes off. So it's grenades on sticks and just a string of grenades. And
Jesus.
yeah, and
Crafty fuckers, aren't they?
I
They're
know.
very
I was
crafty.
like, it's so
Yeah.
ingenious.
so simple.
With a
It's so
string,
simple.
taking the
Well, that was like
the pin out.
And for a quick tangent, it was like when we spent all of that money putting the rhinos on Humvees with the IR, with the glow plug in the front of
Yeah.
it. And then literally after the first day we unveil the rhino, all the IED guys just angle the IED
Off
backwards.
to the side. Yeah.
I literally rack my brain all the time about it. I'm like, I wonder if they just heard it and they're like, oh, hurry up. Let's go stick these down on the ground. Hopefully
Right.
they go off.
Well, it's like delaying the mortars too. They freeze the top half of a mortar in a block of ice and they set the bottom half in the tube and walk away. And then an hour and a half, 2 hours later, shunk,
That's how
goes
you
off.
get around the freaking
That's how you delay it.
Q36.
Yeah.
Doing what do they call that? Why can't I think of that? That used to be my job, is yelling for them to do this. When you have a point of origin,
Five lines,
be
CAS,
the
radio.
Q36, you just do a counterfire. What?
Yeah.
No, just the counterfire. Like
Okay.
once you have, if a Q36 picks it up, you just fire back at
Oh,
them.
yeah.
Yeah,
Right
the
back to
point
the
of
same.
origin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the poo.
Yeah.
At the poo. Anyway, sorry.
So we land right on this grenade, situation, ID situation. And, in first initial thoughts for me was, I was like, we land, like someone discharged or ND'd their 240. That's what it sounded like to me. I was like, what the fuck was
Yeah,
that?
it's always that's always the first thought is like, we fucked up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
What did I do?
I was like, who fucked up? That's what I was like, who fucked up? I'm a missile kick him off the bird right now. So as soon as we get out, we start immediately reacting to contact, which, at that point in time, I'm like, it's not a 240 anymore, right? So, so my job was line squad was to go in and clear the compound so that I could get my dudes safe. So we go over the wall. I had a squad of Afghani commandos as well. So we're pushing them out to clear the compound, and it's getting spread thin. So I decide to, clear rooms on my own, which, it's never a good idea to do. And went in,
David Bourne here.
David Bourne, with one leg now. So no, and it wasn't a mistake at all. It was, you have to prioritize, right, to get your dudes safe. So I go in this room and I missed it 2 times through the doorway, come back in, and boom, ID goes off right in a doorway. And, in hindsight, I found out that 12 pounds of HME was supposed to detonate right at head level. And that was just the blasting cap.
Yeah. And so then you went home and then had a lawnmower accident after this.
Yeah, so I was completely untouched from this. I was completely untouched. Made it home in one piece, and then unfortunate mowing incident.
Schmelting incident.
So that blasting cap fucking took you.
Yeah,
Took you for a ride.
ended up taking my leg, breaking my back, a shrapnel all over my right leg was hanging off too. So
Reattach that one.
yeah, so I have a big part of my calf that looks like I work out really hard, and I'm like, that's definition, baby, but it's actually missing calf.
Oh, wow, nice. Man.
I know. Works out for the horseshoe, baby. But no, so I'm sitting there at night. My night vision goggles had got blown off my face, and on my radio I hear landslide get called, which is our code for everybody get the fuck out now, or you're gonna die. So I see my guys running, and it's
This is back in the day when they were detonated whole buildings.
yeah,
Like this was a tactic of let's get them inside, and then we.
And that was it. And I mean, a couple weeks before that, we were dealing with a VBID where we had 40 dudes that were, affected by that. So these guys were getting nasty on us, but I eventually was like, fuck this. I'm not going to die here. Dropped my pack, grabbed my gun, made it out to the courtyard and put a tourniquet on. And my dudes came and pulled me out.
Oh, you were definitely by yourself.
Oh, yeah.
You had to put your own tourniquet on.
I did.
I bet that time in between when that deck cord went off and the blasting cap and when you had to move out and wait for somebody to come and help you seemed like a fucking lifetime.
That was an eternity for me. And two, it was like on top of just feeling alone, scared, and, feeling like if I moved at all, I would detonate something else. That was the worst part.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Technically, you applied your own tourniquet to your own leg that you subsequently lost.
Yeah. Well,
I don't think there's very many people out there.
No,
that,
probably not.
I could tell this. I mean, between you and Leonardo DiCaprio when he gets attacked by the bear, you're on that level.
I don't like to toot my own horn, but
lead the way.
Yeah.
But I have one very, very important question about this whole incident.
Yeah. Oh, I still
Did
have my
you-
penis.
No,
It's the first thing you check for.
were the nods
That's the one
were the
thing I
nods
asked.
okay? And did you turn them back in?
No, they were gone. They were trashed. They were
They're
trashed.
still not punishing you guys.
You know,
Unrecovered.
Yeah, I didn't have it tied down at the time. It blew off, hit me back in the head. The nods were destroyed. I didn't even know if I had a functional rifle at the
I
time.
can't believe they didn't dock you your award or something like that.
They might
Losing your nods.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Listen, I'm sorry, gents. We're staying on the X. All sensitive items aren't accounted for. And
I know.
Dave lost the nods in an explosion.
Yeah, exactly.
An
We're
explosion.
gonna hold
This
off
is
on
a-
the medevac until we could be accountable for it. And that was a thing for me too. When I was sitting there,
You were like,
when they,
she's like, fuck.
First sergeant's gonna kill me.
That's what you're thinking about.
no, I was like really touching my package there, making sure that was good. It's like the number one thing people ask too. It's like, it is, that kind of injury, it happens all the time, with these guys that are getting hit. But yeah, when they said ETA, 45 mics out on the medevac coming too, I was like, man, I'm goner, and that was, and then, lo and behold, they gave me a little bit of, what do they call that? Ketamine. And I was making jokes and fine on the way to the hospital.
You were perfectly fine.
It's good shit.
Yeah.
So I hear.
I was like, I'm David Bourne.
I'm David Ford. I applied my own tourniquet because the rest of you are pussies. I made me
assholes
clear
left
this whole
me.
thing myself.
I didn't give you light into the fact
You're
that I was
just- yeah.
screaming for 45 minutes
You're-
before that.
You're like, don't worry, boys. She's all clear. I took the blast. Got a tourniquet on. Let's roll.
We're fine, guys.
We're fine.
Let's
ladies and
party.
Let's carry
gents.
on the mission, bro. Just put me in that mound
Christian,
right there.
tell us your story about when you lost your leg and applied your own tourniquet.
It hasn't happened yet, so
Okay.
still waiting. It's still early. There's
You got
time.
the tourniquet right here.
Yeah, I'm ready. It's right in my pocket,
I'm always
ready to
plotting,
go.
though, Booby traps everywhere for me.
Do we have anything? Anything close?
I mean,
Not you getting
I've got
hurt,
a lot
but
of
you've seen them.
I've got a
get
lot of
loaded.
rescues.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's hear some rescues.
Yeah.
We just heard this one.
The hoist
So
rescue.
we did one with a PJ last week. We talked about a really cool hoist rescue. So you'll hear that another time. But my first mission in Afghanistan is a really good one. It's one of my favorites. So we get a 9-line drop, immediate
For
execute.
some reason, I think it's not somebody else's favorite.
Yeah, I mean, the people who got blown up.
Yeah, what an odd way to just describe
You know
that.
what I
It's
mean?
my
Like,
favorite
yeah.
story.
Oh, that
It's-
mission is my favorite. It's like you
Well,
always think,
That's a bad day for
whose
somebody.
day was like this was the one that they dragged.
It's like the worst day for my best days are usually somebody else's worst day. They're my most exciting memories, but usually, I mean, it comes at a price for someone else, right? But that's kind of why we exist in the rescue world, and the whole medicine side is to make sure that people are still living afterwards. But anyways, yeah, my first rescue in Afghanistan, we got a 9-line scramble. So we're milling about the compound, doing whatever. And when a scramble drops over the radio, you drop whatever the fuck you're doing, including if you're in the can taking a shit, and you run to the helicopter as fast as possible with the goal of being off the ground in 7 to 9 minutes. And usually a pretty good crew can do 6 to 7 minutes from scramble on the radio to wheels up, which is, I mean, it's pretty damn fast out there. So we get that. We head on out. We're right outside of Kandahar at this point, kind of in the green zone, the Helmand province of Afghanistan. It's a SEAL who's double amputee below the knee and then missing some fingers on his left hand, and an ANSOF guy, so an Afghani special operator who is missing his face. So we get this call. We need to head out there. We go to the coordinates, stay about 2 miles out, and we call him up on the radio like, hey, pop smoke. We're 2 minutes out. We're headed inbound right now. So they pop smoke. We head inbound. No one's there. Like, hey, are you guys at your coordinates? So yes. So we don't pass coordinates over the radio because it's dangerous to do. Like, hey, all right, pop another smoke and tell me the color, because we've obviously identified secure comms at this point, so we know we can trust them. Like, hey, it's purple smoke. Look for it. Do you see it? No, I don't see shit. Like, okay, well, they passed us the wrong coordinates. So this point, this guy's like bleeding out because they passed us the wrong coordinates. We have no idea where we're going. So they pass us updated coordinates. It's like 5 miles away.
Mhm.
Like, all right, we're headed that way. And they say, hey, we're out of smoke now. So what do you want us to do? We're like, mark the LZ somehow. We got to figure this out. We're like, hey, we found an American flag and a giant pole in the middle of a field in the green zone of Helmand. So it's just like all this farming community. You never know where the threat's coming from. So we're low level, like 150 feet, just tearing ass through this area. And I look out my window as I'm scanning and keeping a watch for threats. Boom, big old American flag on like a 30-foot pole sitting in the middle of this field. Like, fuck, there it is. Break left. Let's go land. We come down, land, unload the SEAL. And as he comes in, keep in mind, I'm like 20 years old. This is my first experience with anything. We have those flight masks. So mine's painted up like a samurai. It's like a red samurai looking mask. And he like leans in. This dude, missing both of his legs, just some gauze on. He's like, dude, that's fucking sick. Let me see that shit. And I'm like, who is this guy? Like, you just got blown up. So I like hand him my mask and like, here, check it out. And I help the Afghani into the helicopter. Our PJs are run off so they can get like a handoff from their medic. And I'm helping this Afghani in because he can't see anything because he has no face. So I set him down to the side. One of the PJs starts working on him, and the Afghani's one of his friends or whatever other ANSOF dude is trying to get on board the helicopter just so he can escort his friend. And I'm like, no, you're not allowed on the helicopter unless you're naked, because I don't know if you have a bomb on you. We can't really have that conversation because the H-60 is loud as shit. So I'm like pointing, like, go away, pushing him away while I'm standing in the cabin of the helicopter. And he like gives me a weird look and like pulls me to the side. So I boot him in the chest and like, go away. And there's a pretty good video I'll have to show you of like the PJs turning around, this dude just like landing on the ground, and I'm over him with my M9, like, go away. But I mean, it ended up being like a total shit show of a mission that we ended up saving both of them. But it was a total shit show from, I mean, the coordinates passing, running out of smokes, everything. I mean, every minute counts when you're doing shit like that, and being able to react. We always call it a dynamic response to a dynamic
That's environment.
Awesome. You got video of it. We're gonna have to put that in your guys' intro.
I don't know if
Did
we'll
I
play it for the
mention-
public.
What?
I don't know if we'll play it for the public, but
Fine.
Yeah.
We'll blur it a little bit.
We'll just claim OPSEC.
yeah, we'll claim OPSEC.
yeah.
On his faces.
I want to see it.
Yeah.
That's,
I might have it,
It's,
yeah.
it's crazy that you mentioned too. Is like, this guy jokes around too. Is like that mentality in the military is so predominant. Is I just got blown up, but fuck it, man. We're gonna have a party.
It's party time for us. Yeah.
He's like, I got 6 months vacation coming up now.
Yeah, I've spoken to this guy ever since. Do you know who he is?
No, but that's kind of what we're doing
Need
now.
him on the show.
That's
Yeah.
what the point
Yeah.
is.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Now
what it's
tell us about
So-
your show.
Yeah, so the Medevac podcast,
yes.
a new edition of Free Range American. We're going to be sitting down with previously wounded people or people on the rescue side, both military and civilian, discussing stories of injury, recovery, and pretty much everything in between. I mean, we're talking from like military guys who have lost eyes or arms or legs into pararescue or like flight medics, all the way into next week. We're going to have a plastic surgeon on to talk about facial reconstruction.
Yeah.
And even
This
like,
never gets old, by the way. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Because-
when you guys start diving into like the ice rescues,
Yeah.
the Alaska PJs, we
Yeah.
need to
Yes.
go do a big
Yeah.
special up there. Those
Yep.
guys never stop.
we have a couple coming
And
down.
that's the thing too, is you get, how many stories have you heard of amputees that are like, yeah, I was dismounted or mounted, but every single story has a different, layer to it. And that's what it is. When we put our heads together a couple months ago, I being the injured guy and him being the rescuee or, rescuer, was, how do we showcase all aspects of the story? Because, what about the medic or the surgeon who goes in and takes 4 limbs from somebody? And what is the post-traumatic stress that he's dealing with? Like, is this a great quality of life that I'm giving this person or things like that? So you see the mental fatigue that they're facing as well.
Oh, dude! Like I remember my first trip, on Victory, volunteering at the receive station to run litters and stuff like that. My first night, they get a guy in, and 10 minutes into it, he dies.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
And like seeing the surgery team and everybody, like kind of the ceremonial piece to it, where
Yeah.
they drape the flag and escort the gurney through
Yeah.
the hallway. Like it was like,
It's a very big
oh shit.
ceremonial process.
Yeah.
Even recovering, like Americans, there was an MC-12 crash. It's like a little King Air aircraft, does surveillance out in Afghanistan. We had to do recovery for 4 Americans who had died in that crash.
4 or 5 years ago, right?
It was 2013.
Okay.
Yeah. So we went out and did the recovery on that. And you got to scrape their
Yeah,
bodies
'cause
up and
I
put them
knew
in a
lot
body
of
bag.
those Dizzos and Sizzos
Yeah.
and stuff that were all at Hurlburt.
Yeah.
They're like their whole conics and area of operation was literally right next to the tech.
Yeah. So we, every time you do that, we have flags ready. We drape them in the helicopter. It's always draped with the flag. We drop them off directly to their unit, so they have their guys receiving them. It's a very, very involved process just to make sure that we show them like the utmost respect
You were
that
on
they
that
deserve.
recovery?
Yep.
Dude.
It was.
Did you shut that shit off, like
So-
parts and stuff, or just like
Yeah, I mean, compartmentalizing. And again, I was really young when I went on my first deployment, and it was fucking crazy. We did over 125 missions. I mean, I picked up 39 people in one day. Yeah, I mean,
Jesus.
there was a full complex fob
130
attack.
missions? What is that? 3 air medals?
I've got like 9. Yeah, something like
Is it
that.
every 20?
I think every 20. Yeah,
That's a
yeah.
lot.
I've got a couple. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to compartmentalize, and it's something that it took me personally a long time to figure out that I was even having like stressors associated with it. That these things that I saw all the time were actually happening, and I associate it to not taking time to decompress and fully process what you're seeing when it's happening. Because in those environments, like I see guys like Dave who've just been blown up, and we take them off the helicopter, and 10 minutes later, now I got to go pick up 2 kids that are bleeding out right now, and they might die. So it's just constant.
You keep just piling it on.
piling it
Yeah.
on, and
Yeah, it was like I was explaining this to somebody, when I was deployed in 2007 with the White Falcons, and this guy Ford got shot and killed, and like they bring him in. He was still alive as they brought him in. He died in the aid station in the bottom of our cop.
Mhm.
But it was like that evening we held the memorial ceremony amongst the guys, and then it was
Yeah.
like back on a mission.
back to
Yeah,
it.
and And
Yeah.
that's the point of this too, is you'd be surprised the lack of knowledge that, the injured personnel have on the rescue that they were on,
Mhm.
It's like, they're like, lights out once you hit the bird, they keep you conscious, but they give you so much drugs. But like, what is that process? And, so these guys don't know their story to a certain point, and that's what we're doing, is trying to piece it together.
And you guys reuniting them with people that were on the rescue, I think that's
Yeah.
going to be an
that's
amazing
super cool.
thing.
So yeah, we're having
Yeah.
special episodes where we're sitting down. So in some instances, we've talked to a few people. They haven't even reconnected yet. So we're reconnecting them from one person who was on the mission, got rescued, with someone who rescued
Yeah.
them. And we're going to sit them down,
Cool.
talk to each other so they can talk about the entire story all the way through. some of the guys know each other. So it's cool to see what kind of bonds they have and what they share.
Yeah.
I think you just call this the "you don't have it that bad" series, right?
Yeah.
You know,
And
and I hear
stop
that
complaining
all the time
series.
too. Is like you don't have it that bad, or it could be worse. Is my like thing,
Sure,
and
yeah.
and the thing is like everybody's situation is unique. You know, everybody faces their own battles and faces their own adversities. And what you do when you say it could be worse or something like that is you devalue yourself. So the point of this is to be like, let's just talk about it, make it lighthearted.
Yeah.
And tell a good story to everybody to not only educate the rescuee and rescuer, but the civilians who have questions. Like, you know, I want people to ask the hard questions, like, what do you do with your leg when you shower, or stuff like that.
Do you
So
take it off
that's-
during sex?
Yeah. Do I take it off during sex? I've
Why
heard that
did I
one
just
before.
get a really bad smell when you said that?
You know, that's the thing too, is if they don't clean their prosthetics.
Yeah.
We were literally just
A little
talking to
stanky.
Jay about this because he's got like a whole like mold that he has to get into.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm like, so when you like go to take a piss, like, do you have to do anything? Do you have to like take that thing? I was like, no, but man, if I got to take a shit, man, I got to have prep time because this whole thing's got to come off. And doing
Yeah.
that dance is not a fun thing to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and questions like that, I mean, are a prime example
That's
of the
exactly
things
what we're trying to do.
we're trying to make it more real because people have questions.
Well, I think it's an interesting point too, because you look at like all of the guys that we know who have been wounded in a serious capacity physically, like they all have such awesome perspectives on life. They all
Yeah.
have this zeal where they're just like stoked to still be here.
Yeah.
And then you look at like our mundane problems of the first world now. It's like, man, we don't have it that bad at all. And hearing these guys'
Yeah.
perspective is going to have intrinsic value.
Yeah, I see what
for
you mean.
Everybody. at
Absolutely.
free range.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude,
No.
I can't wait. I'm gonna fucking watch this thing. It's gonna be cool.
It'll be
It's gonna
cool.
have badass people.
It'll be cool.
yeah, we have some really cool
If
guests.
Ish local,
Yeah.
Ish. There's a bunch
Ish
of
Viegas.
pilots that were on when he got injured that
Yeah.
are local. Like you got a lot of talent to pull
yeah.
from out here.
There's
Especially the Center for
General,
Intrepid
General
out there.
Goldfein.
endless
Yeah.
potential. Yeah. And I've been with the Center for the Intrepid for the last 10 years. So I've built those relationships with these guys, and seen how they grow and they progress, and, the mentalities, the invisible and, physical wounds that they show is, there's a lot of battle that they have to face,
Dave, when are we debuting this? Soon. Coming soon. Coming soon in like a week or so. You guys will figure it out. Medevac podcast airing on Wednesdays. Middle
Under
of the week.
Free Range American.
Free Range American. Thank you guys for
Range
showing
American.
up, Dave and Christian.
Hey, thanks
Where
for
can they
having
find
us.
you on Instagram and stuff so they could start prepping?
Yes, sir. Well, I'll be David Reed with 3 I's at the end. That's where you can find me on Instagram.
David Reed 3.
David Reed 3.
I'm Jolly.Christian. Feel free to reach out with questions, comments,
Or
concerns.
if you want to be a guest. If
Yeah,
you're
or if-
someone that is
if you
Yeah,
were
that is-
in rescue
has a
or
story.
injured,
Story, come our way. We
Yeah,
would
please.
love to reconnect some people.
awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
thank you. I love you.